Hi everyone, this is Mike, and I'm sending you this week for our week number 5 update, a video update instead of the usual email text update that I send. A couple of things I wanted to draw your attention to as you move into week number 6. So the first thing I want to mention, as I've been speaking with several of you in person during my office hours, I wanted to remind you about something that you may not be aware of. So when you log into My Open Math and you go into our course, say right here, you'll notice many of you have a large number of posts or messages that are accumulating in your account. And you can, if you choose, click on the new and then click on this button that says Mark All Read. If you do that, when you click on Mark All Read, when you go back, then the number of unread messages or forum posts will disappear, and that might clean up your interface a little bit. One thing I want to make clear though, I hope that you are reading the messages that you get in My Open Math. I hope that you are reading the forum posts, at least some of your classmates' forum posts, because they should give you some insight into things that you've been working on as well. They may confirm that you're on the right track with particular ideas, or they may give you reasons to question some of the ways you've been thinking and expand your understanding and knowledge of the topics. So just a heads up about clearing the unread messages and forums, that's an easy way to do that. One reminder about where you should be in the syllabus. Remember, the syllabus has interactive links in the menu here, and you can go to the suggested schedule. And week number 6 suggests that you should be in week number 6 working on the probability distributions section. So hopefully you're finishing with the assignment number 4, probability, and getting started on discrete probability distributions. You should be reading through the textbook and watching videos this weekend and early next week. And then in the middle and toward the end of next week, you should be working on assignment number 5. Some of you have mentioned that you prefer to watch videos before you read through the textbook, and that's absolutely okay. Whatever works best for you is what you should do, although I do not recommend starting the assignments without watching videos and reading through the textbook. You don't have to read the textbook word for word and especially carefully, but my hope is that if you watch the videos first, you'll be able to read over the textbook sections and look at some of the major topics, and they should look familiar to you. It will also give you a chance to look at some examples before you work on the assignment. So if you're in the habit of just starting the assignment without looking at those videos, I don't recommend doing that, in particular because the assignment will often require you to use things like spreadsheets, and the videos are there to help show you how to use those tools. Okay, so first thing was to remember how to clear your unread messages and forums. And the second thing is to pay attention to where you should be working in week number 5. At the end of this week, you should be getting started or finishing up the probability assignment and then getting started on discrete probability distributions. Next, I wanted to mention something about probability in particular. I've mentioned this to several of you in person. Those of you that are still working on assignment number 4, but as you go forward, something to think about when it comes to probability. You'll notice that in the examples that are given and in some of the videos that you'll watch, a lot of times it's rare for the numbers to appear until the very end of the problem. In many cases, the examples that you'll see in these videos and in the textbook will write these probabilities in language before they start writing numbers down. And if I have one piece of advice for you about probability, it is to write as many things down and write as many of your steps using English and try and get your head around the particular situation before you worry about plugging in numbers. Usually when people plug in numbers to begin a problem, they end up going in the wrong direction. I can give you more detailed advice about that if you like, either in a one-on-one setting, or maybe I'll post another video about it. The last thing I'd like to mention to you today in my week 5 update is that I've posted a couple of new things in MyOpenMath. So if you look near the bottom of the probability unit, I've posted a link to a podcast that I like to listen to. It's called Radiolab. And this particular podcast deals with educational research and about how statistics were used to think about stereotypes and how people respond to various stereotypes. And it's a really interesting, not article, but really interesting story about how stereotypes and statistics work together to help us explain a lot about how the world works. In addition, when I was listening to this podcast, I listened to it pretty regularly. I also heard another one in which there was a description about somebody finding averages. And in activity 4, I had you read an article about finding averages and the various ways in which averages have been thought about over history. And there's a portion of this podcast, about a 6 or 7 minute portion of the podcast, where they talk about a related but different portion of that story. And so I thought you might be interested, if you liked that article, to read a little bit or to listen a little bit more about that. But the entire podcast is extremely good, and I would encourage you to listen to the whole podcast. It's about an hour long. And it says some really important things about how our justice system works and about how our legal system works. And believe it or not, the story actually touches St. Louis directly in a couple of different ways, which I think are really interesting. So I hope you'll give those a listen. I'm considering developing an extra credit assignment around these different podcasts, and so I haven't set that up just yet, but if you're interested in taking advantage of that, you can get a head start by listening to these podcasts. I hope you have a great weekend and a good week number 6 ahead. Please let me know, as always, if I can help you in any way with the work that you're doing, and I'll talk to you, hope to hear from you soon.